This is BoomerLife on CL 650. I'm going home to the place where I belong.
Welcome back. This is BoomerLife on CL 650. I'm Joanne Sutton. Want to say thanks for joining us today. We are here in the studio live with our friends and experts. We have Janice Hamill here. Janice is a senior case manager with HomeCareAssistance. We're also joined by Sophie Salcido, who is a wealth advisor with Van City, and Nicole Cameron is sitting in as well. Nicole is a sales manager at Dignity Memorial. And we're all here to be talking about the values of pre-planning our futures, not just for ourselves, but for loved ones as well. HomeCareAssistance is a business with a vision to change the way that the world ages. Caring individuals are employed there, and they're completely dedicated to a holistic approach to home care. It's an approach to care that will focus on areas like nutrition, physical exercise, mental stimulation, and of course, the very important social interaction. So our discussion today, it's all about the benefits of planning now while we can all make informed decisions, as opposed to being forced to make a decision when a family crisis or illness comes into the picture. So to both our guests, Sophie and Nicole, thanks for joining us. Sophie, we're going to start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, if you can.
Sure. So I'm born and bred in Vancouver. I feel like I'm a little bit of dwindling stock in this area. But I came into my career in financial advice and financial planning in a bit of a roundabout way. So after completing business at SFU, I started to work and save. And after buying my own car on my own with cash and then going into buying a condo on my own at 25, I suddenly realized maybe I should be doing this as a job. And I'd been banking at Van City since I was 16. So that was the first place I went to look. And started to work at Van City, and it's been about almost 20 years now that I've been helping clients save, invest, and plan, and I love it. It's like I'm not working every day.
That's a great success story. I like that. I wish I was friends with you when I was 16.
I would have been there to help.
Oh my gosh. Well, you're still there to help us now. But I also like to ask all of our guests, and as we did, Janice just volunteered it naturally, but I like to ask if you have a personal connection to this cause of what we're talking about today.
Yeah, I definitely do. And I have two older relatives within my family, and they've both been through the hospital system in about the last 8 months. And so I knew the lay of the land, the stories, but I don't think it's till you go through it personally that you really understand what's going on out there. So my great aunt, who was 91, had her first heart attack. She's living in her home on her own, and so we had to navigate the hospital system there. But the one that really kicked it in for me was my 98-year-old grandfather had a broken hip at home, and he's also in his own 2-level home, driving, totally copacetic.
At 98.
Yes, and I used to joke with my clients, I'll tell you when he's on the road locally. But so again, we were back in the hospital system, and it just so happened that someone I know personally had come into my office early in the year and said, I'm working at this place, and passed me her card, and it turned out to be HomeCareAssistance, and I thought, this is excellent. I now have a contact for my clients. And I didn't know that 4 months later I'd be handing it to my uncle as my mother and I were flying off saying, if you need the help while we're away, this is who you have to call. And we ended up hiring them to get my grandfather back home about a week before Coastal Health even went through the home. And so HomeCareAssistance is working with my grandfather now. So and I have become a real advocate now throughout this year, just making sure all my clients have this contact, know who to call, and get information.
Wow, that's the best endorsement we could have in a conversation like today's. Thanks, Sophie. And then Nicole.
Hello.
Nicole Cameron from Dignity Memorial. Tell us a little bit about yourself as well.
Well, I've been with Dignity Memorial for over 7 years now. And it started out where I met with one of my girlfriends who had recently just lost her brother. And it was a horrific experience. He was quite young. So I just felt like this is a business that I really wanted to be in. My girlfriend at the time, who recently lost her brother, actually went to work for the company as well, for Dignity Memorial. She joined the company first. I was in logistics, and I recently was on maternity leave at that time, and I knew that this is definitely something that I wanted to do. And it just organically happened. She called me up one day and mentioned that there was a position that was going to be coming available. I applied, and I've been there for 7 years.
Oh my gosh, it struck such a deep chord within you to help out your friend that you went and chose this as a career. So what is your actual position as a sales manager? What do you do?
Well, I have a team. I do work at one of our locations in South Surrey. It's Victory Memorial Park. I have a team of 11 people, and we go out into the community. We have seminars that we put on for different groups. We also work very closely with at-need families and pre-need families. And an at-need family is somebody who recently lost someone. A pre-need family is somebody who's thinking about doing this in advance.
Excellent. Now, at least we have a little bit of a background to go on. So, Sophie, you're a wealth advisor with Van City, and that means that you're basically focused on providing each of your members with investment advice and solutions that are tailored to their very unique financial goals and objectives, correct?
That's right.
Okay. So planning. We're talking about pre-planning in today's. Why is this important, and why should we be sitting down and writing out that financial plan now as opposed to when a crisis arises?
Well, I think it's always best to start early if you can. And it's about creating a foundation and a roadmap to sort of guide us and yourself through your life plan coming up. So you're going to have goals and objectives you want to achieve. Maybe it's retirement for many people. We're going to do a plan for you. We're going to see any roadblocks or problems we see up ahead, and then offer some solutions for you to think about early to do some pre-planning. And so that could include, for instance, should you look at buying some long-term care insurance ahead of time to provide the funds to pay for home care assistance when the time comes?
Wow, hadn't even thought of that. Great point.
Yep.
That's just one of many.
I'm on it.
You're on it. Do you have a lot of clients in this situation that they come to you for advice about planning?
Yeah, most definitely. I'm always making sure and asking, do you have a will? Do you have a power of attorney set up for yourself? I myself, like I said, had to rifle through the drawer to find the power of attorney for my grandfather because taxes were due and he had not enough checks, and all of a sudden we had to do all these things. So I'm trying to be proactive and make sure clients are looking down the road and how can we help you. So we'll talk about insurance, power of attorney.
Encouraging them to be proactive as well. So one of the big topics about today is downsizing.
Yes.
What can you tell us about that?
It's very popular. So there's a lot of people out there, as we all know, with homes that have increased in values way beyond what we thought would be possible. But here we are. And we have aging clients. I have aging clients. It's just going to keep happening. And so downsizing is a really big one. I've got about 3 scenarios that I've seen that are quite interesting. So just the normal natural situation might be a client downsizes, sells the house, has quite a bit of assets, and maybe is going right into a care home or going into a condo. So I might be called in to help them now invest the money and provide the monthly income flow, either that's going to go right to the care home or that's just going to help with their expenses and possibly future care home needs down the road. But I've seen some interesting other ones. I've seen only one, but I have seen an actual home swap. So I've seen elderly parents living in the Kerrisdale area with a beautiful house decide to swap and take the condo that the younger couple are in with their little children and swap it right out. So they just do a total swap.
What a brilliant idea.
Yeah, and it worked for them. The ages were just right. These were parents who were a little bit older and just ready to go into that condo, and it absolutely worked for them. Kids were in an area now with great school, and everybody was happy, so that worked well. I have other clients, and their case is maybe one where there's discussions that I've had with them for maybe 8 years, actually, about the fact that their only child is a daughter. So she's got 3 children, married, and they just couldn't quite get out of that townhome. We'd really love to have a house for the 3 kids. It just couldn't quite make it out of the townhome and fund a house. Whereas parents are getting older. They're now about close to their 80s and realizing at some point we probably should be downsizing. You know, we want to be close to our family. So what can we do here? So their solution now that they're working on as we speak is they're getting the design to do a laneway house on their property. So they're going to build a laneway house. My clients will move into the laneway house, and the daughter and children and family will move into the main house. And they have themselves now totally set up.
These are great solutions. Janice?
Well, and to your point, Sophie, I mean, it's interesting. We have quite a few clients that are in a similar situation whereby, you know, you've got the loved ones living in the basement suite and the parents living, adult children are living upstairs. And it's quite interesting to see in that also, the adult children themselves afterwards are, well, how do I care for my parents as well as the other kind of component to that? They've all lived into the one unit now, but it's also as health kind of start to change, what do we do in terms of home support? And it's very interesting because we have quite an eclectic kind of clientele and families that are a variety of different situations, or others that have downsized and now have moved into independent living facilities or whatnot, and seeing how also the grief, the loss of that moving, but also the planning and the financial component of that and what that implies.
Mm-hmm. I think we could probably have an entire show based around that conversation
Absolutely.
as well. So Sophie, your expertise, and when it comes to retirement planning, this show is about boomers, for boomers. I'm a boomer.
Yep.
Thinking about retirement. What are the most important things I need to know when thinking about my future?
So I think, actually, I'm going to step away from the money part and the financial part. I tell clients, don't retire from something, retire to something. So people forget sometimes about the mental component about it. So you need to be thinking, what am I going to do? How am I going to fill those 8 hours? But having said that, most of my clients do come back in my office 6 months or so down the road, and I ask them how it's going, and they'll say, it's going fantastic. I don't even know I had time to work before. So I always have a big chuckle. But financial side, which is obviously what I'm doing, running the numbers, then what I would ask you to do is when you're thinking, I want to retire, what should I think about? Take a look at what income is going to be coming in for you. So I ask a client to gather their Canada Pension Plan statement, which is not mailed out to you anymore. So people sometimes say, it used to come in the mail. It's not coming in the mail. So you either sign up online, or there's a phone number to call Service Canada to get the number. Find out your old age security amount. And what about pension income? Do you have a pension? Is it just your RSP or RIF money that we're going to have? And then the next part, you need to sit down with your little notepad and squiggle out, what do you think you're going to spend in retirement? We all have a wish list, so you might have to trim a little bit. Nobody likes to hear that when I have to say that back to them, but just think about what you're going to want to spend, and then we can put the situation together and really nail down, is there a gap here? What could we do?
How important are the unforeseen things, like an illness or death or a divorce or... Yeah,
that's definitely, those are the things that come out of left field, right? So I always talk about have an emergency fund. Do you have an emergency fund? And that's really what I'm trying to do for clients as I'm planning throughout their lifespan, is provide a nest egg, a pot of money, so that when the things come out of left field for you, we don't have to worry about the money as much, hopefully. And you can focus on the other important things.
That sounds great advice. You're listening to Boomer Life on CL 650, and we're joined in studio today with HomeCareAssistance. We have Janice Hamill with us, who is the Senior Case Manager. Also, we've been chatting with Sophie Salcedo, who is a Wealth Advisor with Van City, and joined in studio as well by Nicole Cameron, who's the Sales Manager at Dignity Memorial. You can get more information online. Please visit the website HomeCareAssistanceVancouver.ca. And up next, we're going to be chatting about the benefits of pre-planning your future with Dignity Life Memorial. That's all on Boomer Life on CL 650.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.